I love living here, my family loves living here, and I've built my career on helping people make that move to Columbus, Ohio. But here's the thing, especially in 2026 and 2027, Columbus, Ohio is definitely not the best fit for everyone. And the kind of videos that you're finding when you search up Columbus, Ohio, best restaurants, best places to live, the highlight reels, how much cheaper it is to live here than California. Yeah, all of those things are true, but that's also not the full picture. Look, here's the thing, no one's actually talking about the things that are gonna catch you off guard and the things that people miss out on until you actually buy a home. And that's the whole purpose of this video, because the last thing that we want is for you to make that move here and absolutely hate it. Look, I'm not here to talk you out of Columbus, I'm just here to make sure that you have all of the facts. Because honestly, the people that thrive here are the ones that have all the facts, and the ones that suffer the most are the ones that get blindsided by this or that. So let's go through it. Every real thing that you need to know before you make that move to Columbus, Ohio in 2026 and 2027. We're gonna get back into my office and we're gonna do this right now. All right, I'm gonna start here because this is the one that surprises the most amount of people, especially folks coming here from the South, from California, or from anywhere that doesn't really have what I call a full 4-season assault. Columbus winters are real. I'm not talking about Boston level misery, but we average around 28 inches of snow per year. And the more frustrating part isn't really the snow, it's the gray. From roughly November through March, Columbus is overcast. More often than not, it's gray. We don't get that dramatic snowscape that makes winter feel cinematic like New York City or Boston. We just get gray skies, cold temperature, and stretches where you genuinely cannot remember the last time that you saw direct sunlight. I've seen people move here from Texas or Florida or the Southern California region where they were completely prepared for the cost of living, the school, the commute. But the first February here just broke them, mentally, physically. And it wasn't the snowfall per se, it was the gray. Days after days after days of cloudy skies is a psychological thing that you have to either prepare mentally for, or you just have to experience it. And it's not just the winter either. Spring in Columbus is unpredictable in a way that keeps you on your toes. I'm talking about 70 degrees one day, tornado warnings 3 days later, and just the past spring we've had several thunderstorm warnings. It's June right now, and I don't know what the weather is going to be. It was gray and 40 last week. Insane. We're talking about 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, hail, flood warning. You just don't know what's gonna happen here. It's all cycling through the areas multiple times in a single month. I remember driving down from an event that we were doing in New Albany, and it started to get bad. Like flooding warning. Bad. I had my windshield wipers on, everything was good to go, but it just kept on pouring more and more and more. And I was in Pataskala, which is a 25-30 minute drive. It does get scary, regardless of how many times you've driven through it or how comfortable you feel. Yeah, it's scary. And the flooding risk is a real part of the city. And if you're buying a home here, you need to check the address for flood zone status before you do anything. Summer is different. Summer in Columbus is genuinely beautiful. It's hot, it's humid, but it's also manageable, and fall here might be the best season in the country. So it's not all bad, but you do need to have a plan for the winter, whether it's good hobbies, a gym membership, a ski trip, whatever works for you, because the people who don't have plans tend to spend February and March questioning every life decision they've ever made. Talk about something really important, and I want to be direct with you on this one because I think a lot of people overestimate or underestimate this situation. Now look, as a professional real estate agent, I cannot tell you where to live. I can't. That is considered redlining. But one of the most important factors when making a migration is crime rate. It's education. And both of these things we need to cover, but overall as a city, and this isn't me saying this is niche.com, this is statistics, Columbus's overall crime rate sits about 21% above the national average. That's a real number. It's not necessarily alarming in the context of cities our sizes, but it means you can't treat Columbus like a small town where you leave your car unlocked and don't think about which part of the neighborhood you're getting yourself into. Here's the thing though, and again, I'm not going to tell you where to go or this. You have to do your own research upon these things because it's very, very important. Crime has a tendency to be concentrated in specific areas. And the city's overall crime rate gets pulled up by what's happening in a relatively small part of the concentrated area. Good news is Columbus did see a 13% drop in overall crime in 2024 and continues to improve in 2025. The city's committed over $744 million of its own budget to neighborhood safety, including hiring 184 new officers. So the trend is moving in the right direction. But here's My hot take, and I want to be transparent with you. If you're relocating here and you're doing your own research on neighborhoods, don't just look at school ratings and commute times. Pull the crime maps up on columbuspolice.org for the specific blocks you are considering. Not just the zip code, not just the neighborhoods in general, the specific block. Because these two streets can look completely similar and have very different realities on the map. This isn't unique to Columbus though, right? Every major city in America has this, but it's something that a lot of people skip over when they're falling in love with a home online, and we don't want to have that happen to you. All right, here's the one that I think is the most practical and important for anyone that's making a migration here. I'm gonna take off my glasses when I say this because you guys never believe me. But Columbus still has a relatively affordable housing market compared to most major US cities. Oh, don't shoot me in the comments. Not yet anyways. That's true. Here's the second part. That narrative that Columbus is this undiscovered cheap city where you can get a beautiful house for nothing, yeah, that is complete rubbish. That story is outdated. And if someone is telling you and selling you on Columbus primarily based on that framing, we gotta pump the brakes. Because here's the real picture. Home prices in Columbus have risen roughly 51% since 2020. The median sale price in April of 2026 was $346,000, up 8.3% year over year. The average sale price hit almost $400,000. And inventory, while improving a little bit, is still tight. Only about 2,084 homes were available in March of this year. 2,000. With a city this dense, we need 10,000. So what does this mean practically? Well, it means that if you're coming here, again, from bigger metros, New York, San Francisco, Columbus is gonna feel like a bargain. Genuinely, it will. And it is in comparison, but everything in comparison is hindsight, right? If you're coming here from a smaller Midwestern city or a southern suburb where you could get a newer 3-bedroom home for about $250, Columbus isn't gonna feel cheap to you. It's gonna feel competitive. Now, when we compare ourselves to other metros, maybe in same popularity, density, things of that nature, say Charleston, for example, or even Nashville, it's more expensive there. But Nashville also has zero income tax and Charleston's by the water. So there's always going to be a catch-22 to everything that you want. The thing that most people don't consider is mortgage rates and where they're at right now. Even in a market where prices are more moderate, a 6.5% rate on a $350,000 mortgage is a real monthly number that people need to plan for. Now, there's still good news. Over 28% of homes are still selling above asking price, which tells you that demand is real, but that number is actually going down from 30% last year, meaning buyers have slightly more room to breathe than they did in the peak frenzy years that existed. And inventory is slowly building. There are neighborhoods and submarkets where a strategic buyer can find legitimate value, but you need to come into the market with a perspective of clear expectation. The days of making an offer below asking on a move-in ready home and winning is just largely behind us. You need to be financially prepared, pre-approved, and ready to move when something good comes up. And again, if you have any questions about the market, you want our team's professional guidance on how to actually approach this and get you the best home possible, please do reach out. It's never a bother when you do. As professional real estate agents in the market, this is literally what we do. It's how we get paid, and we're pretty good at our jobs. Reach out, let's connect, and let's talk about making Columbus, Ohio home for you, whether you're living here or you're planning on moving here. Let's talk soon. Look, if you're coming here from a city where you've built your life around not owning a car, New York, Chicago, Washington, Boston, even Denver, this is going to be a significant adjustment that we gotta prepare for, you and I. Look, Columbus is a car city. It has been its entire life. The public transit system exists, but at a functional level, it's bare. You know, it's not what most people have in perception when they're used to subways or robust bus systems that they would find great. We're okay, but just okay. The Link US Bus Rapid Transit project that's in the works right now is going to help eventually, but I gotta be honest with you. That word eventually is strong. The West Broad Street BRT corridor is already facing a 16-month delay. This is a long-term infrastructural transformation, and it's not a 2026 or 2027 solution. Look, what this means for you day by day is that you're going to need a car to get groceries, to commute to work, to visit friends, to do basically anything that involves leaving your immediate neighborhood. And if you're used to that freedom of urban living, stepping outside and having a subway station and a deli and a pharmacy all within 2 blocks, the Columbus lifestyle is going to require a mental reset. Now, on the flip side of all of this, there is something nice. It's not that bad to drive here. Yeah, I get it. You think it is. It's not. Look, there are other cities that are much worse. Atlanta, for example, LA. Outside of the downtown construction zones, right outside of 270, maybe I-70, 971, the corridors, traffic is generally manageable. Parking at most places is free or cheap. The suburbs are easy to get around, but the car is a non-negotiable, and budgeting for one, insurance, maintenance, all of it, is part of the real cost calculation that most people forget about when they're comparing rent prices or they're buying a home. Here's something that surprises a lot of people who move here expecting a big, friendly, small town. Columbus is the 15th largest city in the United States. It actually went from 13 to 15. It's bigger than Boston, Denver, Seattle, Washington by population size. Washington, D.C. The metro just crossed 2.2 million people, and we have 50 to 100 people moving here every single day. It's growing faster than literally any other Midwest metro right now. That's insane to me. And I mention this because Columbus is built on reputation and still kind of leans on its branding as the biggest small town in America. That idea being that it has amenities of a major city with the friendliness and accessibility of a smaller place. And honestly, for a long time, it was true. But the framing is increasingly outdated. Columbus today is unambiguously a major metropolitan area. There are traffic jams, there are neighborhoods where you don't know your neighbors, there are areas experiencing all the growing pains that come with rapid developments and rapid population growth. Gentrification, displacement, rising costs for long-term residents, homelessness has all increased notably across the growth. And if you're moving here expecting a smaller, slower version of a city life, you may be surprised at what you find, particularly downtown and in the neighborhoods that have most transformed recently. It's the short north, which used to feel intimate and neighborhood scale, is now genuinely competes with entertainment districts in much larger cities. That's exciting for a lot of people, but for people who wanted a village inside of a city feel, some of it's saying that that vibration is lost. I'm not saying this to be negative per se. Growth is largely a positive thing, and Columbus is better in a lot of real ways than it was 10 years ago. But we've had people move here expecting one version of the city and encountering a complete different version. And that gap between expectation and reality is where disappointment lives. I don't want you to be disappointed. And look, if you don't like football, you will be, because I'm going to say this with full affection for Ohio State. Love it. As someone who's watched a lot of Buckeyes football in my time here, I gotta tell you something. If you're not a college football person, or you actively dislike the way that college football culture takes over a city, this is something that you genuinely need to think about. One, let me put it like this. On Ohio State's home game days, Columbus transforms in a way that's honestly difficult to overstate if you haven't seen it. Traffic doesn't just get worse, it stops. Entire parts of the city become genuinely difficult to navigate. Restaurants in certain areas are packed 3 hours before kickoff. The energy is electric if you're into it. It is not a significant inconvenience if you're not. And it's not just the game days either, the weeks leading up to rival games against Michigan. The bowl season controversies and the conversations behind that, the recruiting news. Ohio State football is the background frequency of life in Columbus from September to about January. People talk about it in ways that people in other cities talk about the weather. It's a constant, unavoidable presence in the social fabric of our city. And for Buckeye fans, this is a feature, not a bug. And I genuinely think there's something special about being part of a city that rallies around something the same way that Columbus rallies around Ohio State. But for people who are indifferent about college sports, or who move here from a city with professional sport dominance and don't really give a hoot about college games, well, this aspect of Columbus life can feel genuinely overwhelming or alienating, especially in the first year. Look, it's not a deal breaker, but it is real, and it's one of those things that no one really mentions. Look, I got a big one that I really want you to listen to. This one is important, and even before I talk about it again, all of this is a lot of information. If I haven't deterred you away from moving to the city or living here, please do give us a call. All of our contact information is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the comments as well. It's never a bother when you reach out. This is the one that I really want you to hear. A lot of people who are thinking about moving to Columbus have been thinking about it for the last 2 to 3 years. They looked at the city in 2023 and 2024. They liked what they saw, they put it on the list, and they've been waiting to feel more ready. But here's what happens while they wait. The median home price went up 8% in the last year alone. Rent has climbed almost double in the last couple of years. Inventory existed 2 years ago is largely gone, and the story of Columbus, which used to feel like a secret, is now getting covered by every major publication and every real estate channel on YouTube. I'm not saying this to create panic. I'm saying it because I watch it happen city after city. I've watched it happen in Columbus in real time. Austin was the affordable place once. Nashville was affordable. Denver was affordable. The people who caught these markets early, they built real wealth. The people who kept thinking, I'll get to it later, eventually moved there, paid twice as much for half the house. Columbus isn't priced out, not by a long shot, but the distance between great deal and fair market price is shrinking every single year. And the projects currently under construction, the defense manufacturing jobs in Andrew, the ongoing data center expansions, the infrastructural improvements, the airport terminal, all of these things that are going to attract more people, which drives more demand, which pushes price further. Look, if Columbus is genuinely on your list, the question isn't whether to come, the question is whether you're going to be intentional about timing, or whether you're going to look back 3 years later and wish you'd moved sooner. So the question remains, should you move to Columbus with everything that I just walked you through, the winters, the crime, the housing market reality, the car dependencies, the size and the growth, the Ohio State culture, and the closing affordability window? Here's my actual answer. Yes, for the right person. Columbus in 2026 is one of the best moves that you could make. The job market here is really strong and diversified as any city its size in the country. The cost of living is still meaningfully below the national average, especially compared to the coastal cities. The city is genuinely getting better. More restaurants, more culture, better infrastructure, more reasons to be here. And the long-term trajectory with everything that's being built out and being invested right now is pointed to a clear direction. But the right person for Columbus is someone who knows what they want, knows what they're getting into, who can handle a real winter, who does their homework on specific neighborhoods rather than just go off this generic vibe, who understands that car is a budget item, not an afterthought, who comes here with realistic housing expectations rather than 2019 Columbus prices, who's either a college football person or at peace with being around a lot of them. The person who thrives here, and I've watched this a lot, we help a ton of people move here. The person who thrives here is the one that understands everything that I just said. The person who gets blindsided by any of the things, well, they spent a year or two being frustrated before they adjust or dip out. They leave. And rather than having that conversation with you then, I want to have it with you now. Look, if you made it this far into the video, you're the kind of person who does their homework, and that's exactly the kind of person that does well in Columbus. If you want to talk about your specific situation, your budget, your timeline, which neighborhoods match your lifestyle, which areas have the best long-term value, that's what my team and I do every single day. We're genuinely here for it all. All our contact information is down in the description below and pinned to the top of the comments. And by the way, look, I know we're talking a lot about these developments and these projects. You want to know what's happening where. You want to know how it's going to affect your jobs. I got it. We actually did an entire A to Z guide on making that migration here and talking about those developments. I'm gonna put that video right here. Watch it, and I'll see you soon. Peace.